The second story, which took me years to get Nechama's permission to share, again, very briefly, because it's in the details that the appreciation of any story lies. But still, our Yechidus, as Chas and Kala, began with the Rebbe saying, since you both speak Yiddish, I'll talk in Yiddish, which was a strange introduction, because my Yechidus had been in Yiddish. Nechama speaks Yiddish. In those days, Rivkah Montreal, she learned in Yiddish. My friends who went in that night were engaged. One of them also, a Montreal girl, same class. And the Rebbe didn't begin with that introduction. And so it was strange. And it turns out, Nechama explained to me much later, that somehow she got in her head that the Rebbe was going to ask something. And the Yiddish isn't perfect, it's not her first language. And she'd be embarrassed in answering. It's to be pointed out that in those days, Chas and Kala were not familiar with each other. There's 4 dates. This is another discussion, dating. But we weren't buddies and familiar in any sense. It was a whole life they become familiar and know each other. And so you got this into her head. She'd be embarrassed to speak in front of me and the Rebbe. It was irrational, but it became, like she said, a monster and completely consumed her. And this day, which would be one if not the highlight of her life, she was robbed of it by this irrational, perhaps, or not irrational, fear that the Rebbe would ask her this. And she said, when the Rebbe said these words, it just melted and drained away. And she used the metaphor like just drained away, and she relaxed into the Yechidus and remembered it better than I did. And here too,
Did the Rebbe say something to her?
He just said these words.
He just said, I'm going to talk
Since you both speak Yiddish, I'll talk in Yiddish.
Wow.
And those words completely dissipated her anxiety, and she used, she was drowning in it, and it just...
That's a very familiar feeling, by the way. A lot of people have that in general, but like with the Rebbe, I can only imagine what that's like.
Well, it could be anything that you have a fear of, and then, that it's taking up your headspace, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be rational. Right. And this on this important day, getting the bracha for our marriage. Now, here too, similarly, one could say, well, the Rebbe, mind reader, read her thoughts, but I don't think that's what happened. This is what a Rebbe is. The Rebbe just instantaneously just felt what this girl is feeling, and instantaneously and spontaneously said the words that would allay her fears. This is communication faster than the speed of light. Not seeing and then computing, feeling instantly. That's what the Rebbe is. The Rebbe feels every Jew. We're all connected, in essence. The Rebbe feels that connection. So he just spontaneously said these words.